Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the guy that you saw in the thumbnail is none other than Mr. Johnny Carroll Clifton Jr. Now, Mr. Clifton Jr. is a career con man, shall I say, who has charges dating all the way back from 1989 until the current year or the current past year of 2003. Now, he has everything from worthless check, larceny, possession of a firearm by felon, obtaining property by false pretenses, drug paraphernalia, several charges, and I'm going to go over all of those charges. But his most daring escapade, in which I think is him impersonating a legal attorney, which in turn was probably his most recent arrest in 2023, which led to his current sentence of 7 years for habitual felon. Now, I must admit and tip my hat off to Mr. Clifton Jr. He is just a jack of all trades. Once again, he's currently was his most recent arrest was for impersonating an attorney, and I'm going to tell you that story. But he also bills himself as a billionaire pastor. Now, I can't make this up. And actually, there is video, and I would show it to you, but I don't want my channel to get a copyright strike for the music. But there is video of him singing, "Lord, do it for me," on stage with Pastor Shirley Caesar. I kid you not. This guy, and it's actually funny because he actually has some good vocals. Now, I'm telling you, he could have had a career with singing or backup singing, but this gentleman, yes, he is a great singer, but he is also a greater con man. And I literally, I'll show you guys the video, but I don't want to get a copyright strike. So how did Mr. Clifton get arrested? Now, in January of this year, Mr. Clifton met a woman, and apparently this woman needed legal services. So Mr. Clifton, who he actually has a website that says Clifton and Associates. Once again, I can't make this up. His website says Clifton and Associates. Legal investigations and research. 714 Brookford Place, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Now, another thing about Mr. Clifton, he practiced his illegal practice all over the state. From Winston-Salem to Durham to Wake County to Franklin, Lewisburg, and all points in between. Now, in January, once again, of this year, as I mentioned, he accosted an individual lady who needed legal services. Now, they met at what was so-called his office, and the lady paid him some money. And on the next visit, the lady went to his office, and she said that he presented her with some legal paperwork. Now, evidently, the legal paperwork must have been shabby, or the woman, might have, smelt the rat. But this article says, during the session, the woman became suspicious of the documents that Clifton Jr. was preparing. When she questioned Mr. Clifton, he ceased communications with the lady. So basically, when she started to realize that this may have been a con game, Mr. Clifton ceased communication with him, and also he never returned to the quote-unquote office. Now, the lady said that it was at that time that she called the police on Mr. Clifton, and then a warrant was issued in March of last year. A warrant was issued for him, and it wasn't until May of 2023, almost 2 months later, that he was arrested at his home in, I think it said he lived in Durham at the time. Mr. Clifton, who is now 52 years old, was taken in custody from his home early Wednesday. The sheriff's office said that he's facing 3 charges in Durham, the same charges from a prior incident in Franklin County where he's been accused of doing this before. Now, mind you, those are just 2 instances. So evidently, Mr. Clifton had a nice hustle running. I don't know whether, he had business cards or a website. Whatever the case may be, he had a propensity of securing clients and practicing law without a license, which is a felony, and also felony obtaining property by false pretense. That means the property that he obtained was the people's money, and the false pretense was he was telling everybody that he was a lawyer. Now, this happened in 2023, but it doesn't stop there, or shall I say, it didn't start there. In 2018, September 10th, 2018, special agents accused Winston-Salem man of practicing law without a license. Now, practicing law without a license is a misdemeanor, but anytime that you take money for those services, that translates into a felony, obtaining property by false pretense. Now, this one says North Carolina Insurance Commissioner Mike Causey today announced the arrest of Johnny Carroll Clifton Jr., 47, 714 Brookfoot Place Court in Winston-Salem. Now, once again, he was arrested in 2023 in Durham, North Carolina, at his home. Now, he was arrested 5 years earlier in Winston-Salem at his home. Now, it says special agents with the Department of Insurance Criminal Investigation Division accused Clifton of unlawfully acting as legal counsel for Jeannie Benton and her son Jeremy Maynard during a legal matter involving Geico Insurance Company. Now, evidently, Mr. Clifton was going for the big bucks. Anytime, insurance settlements, lawyers get about 33% of the settlement. So I don't know how he was going to pull that off, but evidently this occurred between April 3rd and July 16th, and he was arrested shortly thereafter. But the strange thing is he was released on a written promise to appear in court. Now, once again, I told somebody that, I was going to say I was a lawyer and walk into a building and get some information. And they told me that it was a crime. Now, I don't know if that is particularly a crime just by saying, okay, I'm a lawyer, and my name is Richard Taylor of Taylor, Brosburn, and Mashburn Associates. I don't know if that's a crime, but definitely if I go in court and stand before the judge, evidently as Mr. Carroll was doing and present myself as an attorney, that is definitely a crime. Even more so if I take money from an individual. So, Mr. Clifton is currently serving a 7-year sentence. His projected release date is, let me make sure I don't give you any wrong information here. His projected release date is May the 3rd, 2029. So that gives him about, 5.5 or more so years. So just to give you a heads up, if you see this gentleman 5 years from now and you have a court case, you get involved in an accident, you have, a wrongful death or, a malpractice suit, and this gentleman tells you that he can represent you in that manner, run the other way. Don't give this guy your money, because he has been at this for years. And not only years, just let's take a look at his criminal history dating all the way back from 1989. Now, the reason I know this gentleman, because he was also here in Goldsboro, to my chagrin, and I was alerted to him by someone who actually knew his criminal activities in Goldsboro. He actually had a few, criminal offenses in the Goldsboro, Wayne County public system. So this guy was a jack of all trades. He moved around, and he let his presence be felt wherever he went in the criminal world. Just take a look. In 1989 September, he was charged with larceny, over $200, which is a felony. Now, in 1989, he was also charged with 3 counts of worthless checks. Now, anybody knows in the 90s, worthless checks was a good come up. I assume, I've never tried it, where you just, you get a check, you write your name on it, you write an amount of money on it, and you pass it off, you buy something, you get it cash, and then it would take a couple of days, I assume, for the banks to realize, or the store to realize that you didn't have the money to be cashing that check. So these were misdemeanors. We can move up to 1992. Once again, worthless check. Now, this is a guy who, was just constantly getting over on people. In 1993, the charge of cheat. Now, I've never saw that charge anywhere. The charge of cheat. And I have to look this up, because I've never seen anyone being charged with cheating. Now, I've spent a lot of time gambling, and I know, if you're cheating and gambling, you might suffer some repercussions. But I've never heard of a criminal charge of cheating. I wonder if I could charge someone for cheating in a card game. But this one says sometimes cheating is a crime. For example, if you cheat by bribing a professor with money or something else they want, then that could be a punishable offense. Cheating on a SAT. Okay, so what is criminal cheating? A white collar crime involving developing a scheme to cheat or deceive another individual or entity, obtaining a financial gain. So this guy was a specialist in cheating, and this happened in Nash County. That's Rocky Mount. So there's another county that this man has been charged in. That's Franklin County, Nash County. He was involved in cheating. Now let's go with this. Larceny, over $200 again in 1993, and that happened in Wake County. Now, from 1991 to 1992, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 counts of worthless check once again in Nash County. So this guy in 3 years has amassed an ample amount of criminal charges. In 1994, worthless check again. And that happened in Nash County. 1993, obtaining property by false pretense. Cheating again. That happened in Raleigh. So this guy was from Raleigh to Wake County, just doing all types of crimes. In Wake County in 2002, fraudulent renting of a vehicle. Cheating again. 2005, 3 counts of cheating again in Wake County. 2005 again, obtaining property by false pretense. And Wilson, okay, now he switched to Wilson County. So he's all over eastern North Carolina, doing his thing. Obtaining property by false pretense in 2013. That's Wake County. Obtaining property by false pretense again, 2013, Wake County. Misdemeanor, 2008. Other misdemeanor, I don't know what that is. That's Forsyth County. Now that's probably the pretending to be a lawyer again. 2019, more worthless checks in Durham. And they finally hit him with the bitch, as they call it, or the habitual felon in 2023. The date of conviction is May of 2023. So here you have the lifelong career criminal, Mr. Johnny Clifton Jr., 52 years old. And once again, this man, well, actually, he's 53 now. He's serving his sentence in Alexander Correctional Institute. So there's no telling how many people that he's scammed, because what I've read to you are just the instances where he has gotten caught. So my caution to you, if you see this guy in 5 years, hopefully this prison stint will, make him change his ways and return back to this. Now you see right there, that is Mr. Johnny Clifton right there on stage with Pastor Shirley Caesar. And I wish I could play it for you, but I don't want to get a YouTube strike. But this man has the voice of an angel, but he has the spirit and the con man of a devil, because there is no way this young man that has such talent vocally would be engaged in such activity, using his vocals to swindle people out of money. But this is our Pastor Johnny Clifton. In this regard, he's masquerading as a pastor. And it says, Shirley Caesar watches as Johnny Clifton ministers, Lord, do it. For more information on Johnny Clifton Jr., you can visit him at www.johnnycliftonjr.com. Now, I'm pretty sure this website is different from his legal website, but it's obvious that the brother has a lot of talent. Definitely probably has the gift of gab. He probably could have been a Fortune 500 salesman if he would have went the right way. But, of course, he may be suffering from some mental issue. Definitely some drug abuse issues as well, because, of course, we had the drug paraphernalia charges that he was arrested for. If you look at some of the pictures online, you'll see the red eyes, the skinny frame, all the signs of drug abuse in my, shall I say, expert opinion in that regard. But also, and just looking at some of the mannerisms as well, it may hint that he is part of, the LGBT community as well, which is his prerogative. If he wants to switch hit, then he can switch hit. But he definitely has a lot going on in his life. So my prayers go out to Brother Clifton, man, and hopefully the rest of these 5 years will help you get your life on track. I just had to share this because it was an interesting story brought forth to me, how this man has scammed and schemed in over 10 counties in North Carolina, impersonating an attorney, impersonating a pastor, and impersonating God knows what else that he has been impersonating. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Once again, my number is 919-587-7782. If anybody have any questions, comments, or even clarification about who Mr. Johnny Carroll Clifton is, and if you've ever been scammed by him as well, and you want to make your story known, or give an example of his wantonness, then please, by all means, give me a call, 919-587-7782. This has been Richard Taylor. Peace and blessings.